Hi guys, it's Miss Sarah. I teach first and second grade math at Logos. So today we're going to be talking about coins. That's one of the main topics we go over in my campus class. So today we're going to talk about coins and their values, and then we're also going to talk about a game that we can play using some dice and some coins. So we're going to start with just talking about the quarter. So the quarter is worth 25 cents. And so I actually grabbed one of each of the coins. These ones are plastic coins, but if you want to grab some real coins, you can. Here is the first one. So this one's a quarter. And it's the biggest one out of all of them. That one I feel like is easiest to remember sometimes because it is the biggest one and it is worth, the biggest amount out of all four of these. And then here's the dime. That one, here, let me turn him a little bit. That one is worth 10 cents. And then here's a nickel. That one is worth 5 cents. And then here's the penny, is the only copper colored one in that group. And that one is worth 1 cent. So I wrote those up here: quarter, 25 cents, dime, 10 cents, nickel, 5 cents, and penny, 1 cent. And so sometimes it's hard to remember the values of each of these. So there's a fun little video that I'm going to add to the description of this video so that you can watch it. And it's a silly, silly song that goes over all of these values. And if you listen to it quite a few times, sometimes it can get stuck in your head. Say maybe you listen to it every morning or every afternoon. And even though sometimes some of my students say, oh, that song gets annoying after a while because it repeats the same thing. And it's kind of fun, though. It's kind of silly. And listening to that over and over, though, gets the lyrics, the words, stuck in your head. So they talk about how a quarter's worth 25 cents, a dime's worth 10 cents, a nickel is 5, and a penny's 1. So if you're having trouble remembering how much those are worth, listening to that video sometimes really, really helps. Okay, so if you have all four coins, then we're going to do a little activity. If you don't have those four coins, see if you can find them. If you can't, then you can just watch really closely this part. We're just going to talk about the details about each coin so we can kind of see if we can remember. Okay, so if you don't have them with you, but you know where they are, you can pause the video and go get some coins. If you don't have any coins, that's fine too. So I'm going to start with the quarter. So like I said, the quarter is the first one here. It's the one that's worth 25 cents. So if you have a quarter with you, take the quarter and just feel the edges. So if you notice the edges are super bumpy. So let's see if I can bring it up there. The edges have all these little ridges there. And so it's the biggest one and it has ridges around the edge of it. It has his face on the front. Has the bird on the back. Okay, so then the dime, pick that one up and feel it. The dime also has ridges all over it, all over the edges there. Oh, there you go, you can see them a little better now. So both the dime and the quarter, the two biggest ones, or the two that are worth the most, have ridges on them. So sometimes we forget the difference between a dime and a nickel, or we forget their name, get them kind of mixed up. So that is a good way, a really good way to remember the dime, is that it is big, like or its amount is big, like the quarter. So the quarter is 25 and the dime is 10. So the first two are the ones that are bumpy and they have the ridges on them. And then the next one that we have is the nickel. So if you have that one, pick it up. It looks like that on the front. And then if you feel the edges of that, that's very smooth, actually. There's no ridges on that one. And this one is the nickel, and that's worth 5 cents. Okay, and you can put that one down. And then this one is the penny. And again, same thing. There's no ridges on that. And it's the copper-colored one. Okay, so then what I'll have you do is I'll actually have you take each coin. So first you can take the quarter. And I want you to hold it up onto a piece of paper. So if your paper's laying flat on the table, that's good. And then I want you to lay it flat on the table. I'm going to lay it flat up here. And then just trace the edges. So just bring your pencil along the edges of that coin. you can even kind of hear it makes a funny noise too, because the pencil's moving along those bumps, those ridges. So I'm going to write Q in the middle of it for quarter and 25 cents above it. Just so that if we're trying to figure out coin values, we can take our quarter and we can lay it over that circle that we made and see, oh, that one is a quarter. It is worth 25 cents. Okay, so once you've done that, traced your quarter, written a Q in the middle so that you can remember that's for quarter, and then written 25 cents at the top, then we're going to move on to the dime. Okay, you can have it written out like this too, and have the picture. That could be helpful as well. But the only part I'm having you do now is just this part with the picture, with the tracing it. So now we're going to take the dime. Remember, the dime is the smallest silver one, but it has all the ridges on it too. So that one is worth 10 cents. So I'm going to put it right near where this one is and bring it over so that they're all right next to each other. Okay, and then I'm going to write D in the middle for dime. And above this one, I'm going to write 10 cents. So 25 cents, quarter, and 10 cents, dime. Okay, then the next one is the nickel. And if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause it and do it at your own pace. I'm just going quickly so you don't have to wait for me. So now as I trace this one, I can feel this one's a lot smoother to trace because it does not have ridges. It is one of the two that are worth less. Okay, so I'm going to write an N in the middle for nickel, and I'm going to write 5 cents at the top. And then at the bottom, we have penny, this guy here. I'm going to write the letter P inside of it, and I'm going to write a 1 cent on top. And just like we have the dollar sign, like when we're writing amounts in dollars, we also have this C with a line through it that goes after the number, and that means cents. So I'm going to write P in the middle for penny, and then 1 cent on top of that. So now if at any point we're doing an activity and you're wondering which one is which, you can line them up and see. Okay. So then the next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is a game that you can play with coins. So if you take 2 dice, if you have dice. If not, you can also, if a parent lets you use the computer, then you can look up, or they can look it up for you, a virtual dice. And Google has a cool virtual dice where it'll bring up a screen when you type in virtual dice, and it'll have different dice with different sides. You would just choose a dice with 6 sides, and you choose 2 of them. And what you do is you take the dice and you roll them. Ooh, this one's a good one. So in this case, I got 2 5s. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So all together, my roll was 10. And now I have to think of how many different ways I could make 10 cents using coins. So I know one of the ways is just 1 dime. So I'm going to first write here, oops, let me use my marker. I'm going to write roll number 1. You don't have to write roll number 1 for yours because you're just going to keep score. But you can if you want to. So mine was 10 cents. So 10 cents could be, I'm going to do equals 1 dime. That's one way. Think about if there's another way to make 10 cents using coins. When I look at it, I think of what I actually rolled. I rolled 5 and 5. And so we can think about, is there a coin that is worth 5? Yes, there is. There's a coin, there's a nickel, and it's worth 5 cents. So I could do 5 and 5. So I could do 2 nickels. Okay. Is there another way? So some of you might be thinking 10 pennies, because that's another one. 10 pennies. because each penny is just worth 1, so you need 10 of them, right? If we counted by 1s all the way up to 10. Okay, now there's one last way that I can think of that we could make 10 cents. So we already did 1 dime, so that's out of the question. Quarter's too big, so these 2 are out. I already did 10 pennies, and I already did 2 nickels. So think of if there's a way we could combine those. What if we did 1 nickel and how many pennies? So if 1 nickel's 5, how many pennies would we need? So we already have 5, then we'd need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more pennies. So we'll do 1 nickel and 5 pennies. Okay, so I found 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to make the number that I rolled. So my score, say if I'm playing this with someone, so here's my name, and then my opponent's name would go here. So I will do Tina. That's my sister's name. Okay, so if I got this score, 1, 2, 3, 4, because I found 4 different ways, my score would go right here. So then say Tina went, and maybe she got a roll of 3. So like if she got 2 and 1. Oh, where's my 1? She got 2 and 1. That's 3. And you can only make 3 by using 3 pennies, right? Because 5 is too much. And then the rest of these are too much. So you can't just make 3 with any of these. So it would just be 3 pennies. So that's one way to do it. So hers would be 3 pennies, and that's only one way, so she would get only 1 point. So then if I went again, and I rolled, and I got 5, like this roll, 3 and 2, I could make that, so if I have 5 cents, I could make that by doing 5 pennies, and then that's the only way with using pennies. Right, and then since it was 5 cents, that matches the nickel. So it could just be 1 nickel. And then 10 is too big and 25 is too big. And since it's exactly 5, there's no way to combine these two, because as soon as you do 1 nickel and 1 penny, that'd be 6 cents, which would be too much. So I found 2 ways to do it. So no longer is my score 4 from last time. Now I made 2 more points. So now my score is 4, 5, 6. My score is 6. So I'm going to cross off the 4, and I'm going to put a 6. And then say maybe Tina went, my sister, and she got 10 cents like me the first time. So now if she got that, she would have a score of 1, and then these 4 ways to make 10 cents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, plus her 1 she already had, which is 5. So her score is 5, and now I'm at 6 and she's at 5. So then you would play, you could kind of make a rule, maybe you're gonna each roll 5 times, and see who gets the highest score, and then that player wins. So you can play it with just 2 people, you can play it with 3 people or 4 people, and it just helps us think of different ways that we can make those amounts. And again, if you're trying to remember which coin is which, looking up here can help you. 25 cents for quarter, which is Q, if you have these written on yours. 10 cents for dime. 5 cents for nickel. 1 cent for penny. So what you can also do is you can take the coin and match it up. Say, oh, it's not that one, not that one, not that one. Oh, this one's a quarter. So maybe if you're trying to figure out which coin is which, you can match them up by the size. Since we traced them, they should be exactly the right size. Okay, so thank you guys for listening through this and following along. So hopefully you have this written down on your paper, and then now you have an idea of how to play this game. So hopefully you can play this game, get some other people to play it with you too. And I'm also going to, like I said, I'm going to put that video to help us remember the coins and their values. I'm going to put that video in a link at the description of this video that I'm uploading. Okay, thank you guys. I miss you all. Have a good day.